Call this meeting of the Town Planning Board to order. So if you will please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes, August 6, 2026. Comments or revisions? There are none. Can I have a motion then to approve the minutes of August 6th as prepared?
I'll move.
Phil, second by?
I'll second.
Giovanni, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? One abstention. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the possible extension or abandonment of applications pursuant to Town Code. Project being Youngs Grove, Rieger. We have a letter dated August 12, 2026 from Engineering and Surveying Properties addressed to the Planning Board regarding this application. With this letter, we are requesting a spot on the August 20th, 2026 Planning Board agenda to request two 90-day extensions of the conditional preliminary major subdivision approval for the reference project. The conditional preliminary approval is scheduled to expire on or about August 20th, 2026, today. We have attached a summary of activities that have occurred in the past several months in an effort to complete the conditions of preliminary approval. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact our office. Sincerely, Steve Esposito. And we have a project update. It's project update number 24, dated August 12, 2026. Again, the applicant is requesting two 90-day extensions of its conditional preliminary major subdivision approval. Since approval, the following items have been addressed and completed. The applicant is continuing a dialogue with the town board and village board regarding sanitary waste. Applicant drafted a developer's agreement for a water system and providing water to Stonehenge subdivision, which is currently under review by the town board and town attorney. 2, the applicant received comments from the New York State DEC regarding our water withdrawal permit application that was submitted to the department on December 12th, 2023. Applicant is responding to the DEC comments. Applicant needs resolution of sewer treatment with the village to complete the responses and revisions to the New York State DEC comments. Number 3, based on the final resolution of sewer treatment and water with the town and village, the applicant will revise the preliminary approved subdivision plans for the planning board approval. Sean, any
I have nothing further, but Ross is here if he has anything to add.
nothing to add to
Someone
Steve's?
said, I know they've been trying to work out the sewer issue from the main focus.
Okay. Comments from the board? Okay, in that case, two 90-day extensions would take us to when?
February 18th, 27th?
I have a motion then to grant the two 90-day extensions to February 18, 2027 for the conditional preliminary major subdivision approval for Craigville LLC, Rieger Homes, also known as Youngs Grove.
I'll make the motion.
Marty, second by?
I'll second.
Phil, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Next item, public hearings. First one being Onteraga Mansion, 2-1-21.2, 21.3, 21.4, and 21.5. Application for a site plan and special permit approval for a catering facility with accessory guest rooms and spa on 145.7 plus or minus acres on New York State Route 207 in the RU zone with an AQ3 overlay. Do we have anyone from the public here for this public hearing? Neil. Once we take care of comments up here, I'll open it up to the public and the floor will be yours. Sean.
So this was opened at your, I'm sorry, not open. This was last discussed at your June 18th meeting. At that time, the applicant requested an adjournment, which you provided until this evening. Followed up with the applicant, they gave us an email that asked for an additional 3-month adjournment, and they indicated that they are preparing to submit a petition to the town board for a zoning amendment. Don't know anything further than that. So if the board is interested in giving an adjournment, I would suggest that you open the public hearing, take any public comment, and then if you want to provide the 3 months of the applicant requested, that would be your November 19th.
Adjourn to November 19th?
That's what the board wants.
Okay. Let's start down this end. Phil, comments on this application?
Well, I'm not sure what the change in zoning is all about. It's a big unknown factor. I do think as it stands without that change, I think it's 97-18C, does permit a residential property to be used for business purposes if it meets certain criteria. And I am wondering, one of the criteria is the exterior appearance of the residential structure is not significantly modified. And another one is that the business occupies less than 5,000 square feet of floor space area. We have a 10,000 square foot, more or less, 10,000 square foot residence that they are proposing to expand to 55,000 square feet, more or less. I would like to hear at some point from the applicant, given that those are criteria for satisfying business purpose for residential purpose, how this proposed use, a catering facility, an event facility, would meet those two requirements.
Do you want to weigh on that?
I can weigh in. Steve's been the lead on this. I understand there was initial determination by Frank that it was consistent with the zoning. That was appealed by the neighbor, went to the ZBA. That appeal has been stayed. They have met with the town planners. And we're looking at the comprehensive plan and potential zoning amendment. The zoning amendment has been drafted, and there's maps in place, and I think it's probably going in the next day or two to the town board regarding amending the zoning for these use.
Okay, thank you. Joe? I just have a couple questions, actually. Some of them may have been addressed, but in the design itself. The valet parking area, we're not showing any lighting. Vehicles are going to be picked up from that area in the evening hours after an event. I'm not sure why we have no lights other than whatever light the go-kart has, you know, the golf cart or the, you know, but, you know, something to consider as far as evening hours lighting. We were talking about the venues being separated by 2 hours, and I wasn't sure if that means that we're staggering in the sense that 2 hours, one will start after the other, and then end 2 hours earlier than the other, so there's always a 2-hour lag between the two. I think that needs to be cleared up a little bit, what the maximum number of hours are, so they could maintain that shift. The outdoor ceremony spaces don't appear to have any lighting also. Not sure why this is being used in daytime hours and not part of an evening event. Just want to confirm there's no intention to have fireworks or outdoor amplification.
No.
Consideration for solar panels on the roof, since we have a sizable amount of roof deck. I don't know if that's been considered as far as the energy considerations. And also where the water's coming from, irrigating the shrubs and the lawns, because we're saying that we're maintaining lawns. I don't know if it's going to be like an irrigation system, a subsurface irrigation system, and if so, is there a tank or a holding, rainwater, and what are we using?
So, I mean, typically we would propose landscaping that doesn't require any irrigation, especially in New York. not to need any kind of irrigation. So-
Even the lawns, you know, just
Correct.
let nature take care of it?
Yep,
That's
you
the
use the
intent.
right plantings that don't require to be over the water. Or you wouldn't know this summer that you're worried about
And the other thing was the two stormwater management ponds, as far as landscaping and fencing around those, since they abut the parking areas. I didn't see anything on the plans, preliminary plans anyway, that shows anything like that. Something to consider. What-
I don't necessarily have any questions right now on the site plan, but can you tell me what zoning changes are they looking to go to?
that. I don't quite know exactly, because Steve's been handling that zoning process, attorney from Bluestein's office, and I know they had met with the planner. I don't know if it was an overlay zone. That was the initial concept. That would allow certain uses if you had certain frontages on state highways, you had certain acreages, so forth. That was the initial concept that they were talking about.
I guess we'll-
It'll be introduced here any day.
Yeah, all right. That's all.
No?
Nothing, I second Phil's comments.
Sure.
So I'm totally in agreement with Phil, but I do have a question, Russ. If the accessory uses or the accessory service businesses in the establishment are not gonna be open to the general public, they're gonna be open specifically to the people that have events booked at the facility, correct?
Yep, that's the.
So we're not gonna find these rooms on Airbnb or
Correct.
things like that?
Yeah.
They're not gonna be on Booking.com? It's,
He
you have
has
an
this going
event,
on right now up at the Villa, the barn at the Villa Benizi, and those.
Right.
That old house there, he actually uses.
he's doing, right.
Yep.
So that, and I know that that's how he operates those two businesses.
Yeah,
I was
and that's the
assuming,
same intent here.
I was assuming it was gonna be the same intent here, I just wanted to hear it straight
Yeah,
from you.
that's my understanding.
So these accessory uses are strictly for the event space, they're not
Correct.
separate and additional businesses. It's one, it's covered under.
Correct, they're accessory to the event.
To the event?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That was my big question. And as far as the site plan goes, I think I'm okay.
One more question.
Go ahead.
In catering, Ross, that'll only be for on-site activities related to the
Catering,
events
yeah.
on-site?
Yeah,
Won't be for the
Correct.
general public?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have, yeah. With any luck, they won't have any time to cater outside the facility. And he does it out of his current facility.
Okay.
So he's essentially, his plan is to duplicate his other two establishments?
Yes, with a different look, different, yeah.
Different look, different location,
Yeah.
different services?
Yeah, yeah.
Any other comments or concerns? If not, we'll open up the public hearing. Anyone else besides Neil wish to speak? This time? What I'd like you to do, once we open the public hearing, is just introduce yourself and your address for the record, and then state your concerns. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Giovanni, second by Eric, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Public hearing is open, and I recognize you, Neil.
Neil Heller, resident of Town of Goshen. Hearing about the possible zoning change may make any moot or whatever, but lacking that change, my concern is that I think it's going to go to the ZBA, and the ZBA, to paraphrase it, the ZBA has to look at it and balance the advantage to the owner of the property versus the impact to the neighborhood. And I think one of the issues with that is you need to start out, what's the impact right now as permitted, which would be, as stated, 5,000 square feet of usage. And so what's the impact if you open it up as a 5,000 square foot facility? And then what's the impact if you make it a 55,000 square foot facility? And I would suggest, if it's going to be considered that way, that you also have the applicant look at if they just use the existing facility. Recognizing the fact that there's an existing building there that is in excess of 5,000 square feet, it may make sense to visit it at that and say, hey, we can give, the ZBA may decide, hey, we can give you the 13,000 whatever, but we can't go up 55,000. I think it'd just be helpful if when you're doing the environmental review, that you have those impacts specified that way. It would be helpful for the ZBA to be able to make that kind of balance. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Neil. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this application? No. Okay. So,
The applicant requested 3 months, that would bring you to your November 19th meeting.
so that being the case, I have a motion then to adjourn this public hearing to November 19th, 2026.
So moved.
Phil, second by
I'll second.
Marty, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Next item on the agenda, public hearing once again for CDA Extreme Sports Training Center, 2596 Goshen, New York, LLC, formerly known as Uniplan, 12-1-117. Application for an amended site plan and special permit for the conversion of a light industry to recreational business on 5.3 acres, New York State Route 17M in an HC zone with an AQ6 overlay.
Good evening, we're Ross Winglevitz, Engineering and Surveying Properties. I'm here with Joy Selly, who's with CDA Extreme, the operator of the cheer
Close to our
training.
cheer gym. Yep.
Okay. Just to get everybody oriented, this is the former Furniture Options building. It was purchased by European Outdoors probably about 5 years ago and converted for their use through a special permit. Their business had declined. They ended up selling the property to a new owner who has brought in a tenant, Uniplan, who we were here a couple of years ago for. European Outdoors has basically disappeared, and the use of their facility, which is about 10,381 square feet, where they had been, it will be occupied by CDA Extreme and their training facility. There's not a lot of site improvements proposed. There's a bunch of striping in what was the loading area, loading docks in the back that we use for the building. So we proposed parking there. That was part of our discussion in the July meeting. We showed routing, proper widths, proper spacing, drop-off area for parents. Any overflow would come to the front, could park in the front. Signage for that we provide. Really it. We did sewer tests. Everything came back fine. The applicant, the owner, I should say, it's not the applicant. The owner is pursuing Department of Health approval for the water system. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thanks, Ross. Sean?
Really not much to add, Mr. Chairman. This is amended site plan and special permit. As the applicant indicated, this was before you back on July 16th. I circulated written comments on July 10th. The applicant has made a recent submission as you requested, responding to those comments and also addressing some other items that were requested. And this is listed this evening for public hearing.
Thank you. Bill?
Two issues. One we raised earlier in another meeting, which was ADA compliance for the as an entryway and an exit to the facility. And the other, there was one of the narratives concerning the project, you discussed for the younger children that they had to be accompanied after practice. They had to be accompanied by an adult
Yep.
to safely get through the parking lot to their cars. It would seem to me that that plan, whatever it is, it should be put down in writing, and it should apply, I think, to all of the applicants who are involved. because, you know, you get teenagers, and they can be pretty distractible.
Well, we have cameras located throughout the building, so I can watch. We have cameras located throughout the building, so I can watch the parking lot. The kids aren't allowed to leave till they see their parents in the lot. They're not allowed to hang out in the parking lot. So a 13, 14-year-old can go into the lot and find her dad's car and jump in. They're not allowed to stay outside. If they are outside, as of this week, it was nice out, so they were outside. I had a coach sitting outside with them. So that does happen, but the parents aren't parking to pick those kids up. They're driving up, the kids are jumping in, and they're leaving. The mini parents, which are the 9-year-old and under group, their parents will park in the back 5 minutes before pickup, and they will wait in their cars. When they see the kids come up to the steps, they come up to the steps, they grab their kids, they put them in the car. So this is a system we've been using since COVID, when we had kids check in and check out, so it has worked for us. The little kids are being escorted through the parking lot. The older kids are not allowed to hang out in the parking lot and are free going to the parking lot. They look at the door, their parents is here, they go to the parking lot. There's no hanging out or congregating in the parking lot alone.
I just leave it to the board whether or not you want to see something in writing to that effect.
I think it is in writing in the narrative. I just have to specify in the narrative, I wrote the narrative. I have to specify in the narrative that the juniors and older teams don't leave and go into the parking lot
Just a
until
little
they're
more
present.
detail.
Yep, I can do that.
Okay. Philip mentioned the ADA access.
Yep.
Why don't you tell us more about what you do?
So what we can do here is we're providing handicap access, handicap parking up front at the entrance. We're adding 2 parking spots. There'll be, there's a front entrance door that's handicap accessible. It has cameras on it, and there is a bell on it. So they can activate the bell, can notify them that they're there. So if it's after hours and say Uniplank is closed, they can activate the bell. Joy's staff has access to that door and has
I do have
keypad.
I do have agreement with Uniplank that for ADA access, I have their security code for the entire building, and I may access the front door and bring them through the hallway into our door, because we do have an access point between the 2 spaces.
So the path that's depicted on the plan, what is it? Is that a hallway? Is that?
So no, that's just a hypothetical path. I mean, we haven't been inside the building to lay a path out. That would be up to the architect when they finalize the division. But was something that Frank will look at?
That is actually, that's actually close to the path.
Is it?
So the path is just a little further over. There's a door right here. There's a garage door and another large door right here between the center of the 2 spaces, and it's a hallway space. It is hallway. That goes
Is
in.
that hallway space defined walls?
Not defined walls.
So what would
It's
prevent?
storage actually. So it's very wide. So you're talking about probably a 16-foot clearance walkway. They have racking and storage on one side.
What prevents anyone going through that hallway to wander off that path?
Well, we have the door locked.
So they'll,
So
Once
they,
they're inside, I'm talking.
so they have to be escorted. Yeah, we have the door locked. So we have the door locked from our side. They can't just free reign and roam through the building.
So they're not just getting buzzed in?
No, they're
once
getting
you see
they're
them
getting
by camera.
escorted. I'm going to pick them up at the door. Our coach is going to pick them up at the door and bring them through. Chances of us having somebody handicapped that's entering is probably very slim. It'll be very occasional if it's a mom or dad or somebody that needs to come in for a reason. But other than that, there's not many reasons why. We've been there a year and there hasn't been one situation that we've had to use the door.
Okay. I want to back that up a little bit. I do think you want to provide opportunities for people who need accessible entrances to work for you or to attend these competitions. Like
Yeah.
I don't think that it hasn't happened very much before is like a great answer to that, but we can get through it. How do people know how to get to this entrance if they require access and,
Well,
wheelchair?
we actually gave some thought today because he called me to verify what we were doing with the ADA. And we're going to put signage on the front that says that you have to give us a call and ring the doorbell, and we will come escort you through the building if you require assistance. So we're going to put that signage right by the doorbell in the front. The doorbell is there, but we're going to put the signage specifying that, because it gave me some thought, like, yeah, they really don't know unless they're already in their program. If they're in their program, they have a band. They all know to communicate with you through band. They can get me within minutes on band, and I will get to that door. But if they don't know and they're just visiting, then we're going to put a sign that says, hey, ring the bell and give us a call, and we will come to get you.
Can I just expand? Sorry, I want to. Jeremy said competition. There's just going to be training.
Yes,
right?
there's no competition.
No actual competition.
No, we don't host competitions. We attend competitions, we don't host competitions.
There was some
Some
mention.
correspondence that,
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we won't host competitions there. This facility is not meant to hold competitions.
And what I would, more than recommend, what I think you're obligated to do is also put some signage on the main door
Mhm.
for your facility directing
The
people.
rear.
No, 100%. So the signage that we proposed in the parking lot, he had specified drop-off, pickup, and with that, when I was giving it some extra thought today, I want to put signage on the back door saying that this is where we're, like, they already know the system, but signage seems appropriate.
And I guess the only other question is, if Uniplank goes the way of outdoor, whatever, if the tenant changes.
So I have a backup plan. I
Okay.
don't want to get into that backup plan because it's going to be financially costly to me, and actually landlord should probably take care of it. But our side door it is wide enough for ADA access. So we have a door that is located right here on this concrete pad. We could do a walkway. So now there'd be a walkway from this entrance to here. If Uniplank was to go away and I was not access the building, that would be what I would propose to a landlord, is that I get a sidewalk that gives me that access right into the side of my building.
If I can make a recommendation for an intermediate addition to the resolution, which would just be that it is your obligation to come to us, if that's okay.
That's
In the
perfect.
event that
Yes.
the
Word
tenant in
change.
front no longer gives you access.
Yeah. My lease is only for 2 more years. He has said he will extend it because of this. He's with the amount of work we put into this. So I've actually spoken to him, and it's probably going to be a future plan regardless, because it just makes it a second pathway for me. But right now, this is what we're holding to, is the ADA will use the front doors.
Mr. Chairman, can I just chime in on that?
Please.
So if the ADA access is gonna move to the rear, you're also gonna have to convert those standard parking stalls to ADA stalls.
Okay.
There have to be access from those stalls to that door.
Yes, that it'd actually be right. They're actually within the path, would be right next to them.
No, I
So
understand.
dimensionally-
I just want you to realize that you may be losing some standard stalls in place and replacing the
Yes.
accessible
No,
stalls.
I do understand that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
I just want to make sure I understand this.
Okay.
You have here, there's the student drop-off area.
Mhm.
That's where the older children will be dropped off there.
The older children are being dropped off in the student drop-off area, so they just drive the loop. Typically, a parent just drives the loop, they pull up to the door, the kid gets out, they keep driving, they leave. Or they park in the front. The minis are the ones using those back parking spots. Their parents will drop them off, walk them in, get back in their car. Most of them do not stay. They're able to stay, but most people just leave. They just leave. Like, that's just the way the program goes. They just drop and go. They go have coffee, they go shopping with their girlfriend, they have dinner. Like, I am the babysitter for that 45 minutes that those kids are there.
So what entrance are the older kids going in?
The back end, our main entrance, which is the rear of the building.
Which is in the rear?
Yes.
Okay. So that means they have to walk along this paved driveway, right? If that's the drop-off area?
No. They would be this is all
They drop
striped.
here and they walk along the
Yeah, it's all
striped area.
striped. That's completely blank. There's nothing there.
That's just a sign that's gonna say student drop-off
Yeah.
area, right? On the
Mhm.
driveway?
It's directly where,
It's a full striped area in front of the door that I would say
Oh,
is
okay.
the
So
size
they're
of
gonna
this
they're gonna
room.
drop in this left?
Yes.
So then technically all kids are gonna be dropped off in the back?
Yeah, everybody gets dropped off in the
Okay.
back.
So
The
we
parents
have-
just don't park in the back.
Gotcha. That's just a sign saying, okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
That's it.
again, back to the site plan. Next to the rear parking lot, you have your sewage disposal area.
Mhm.
And it said in the plan that there was going to be traffic cones to
There's traffic cones there.
I mean, what exactly is that something that's permanent, or are we talking those little tiny?
I'm talking about cones and rope. That's all we have is cones and rope. In the winter, it's a non-issue. You cannot possibly park up there because of the amount of snow and ice and just as muddy, and they don't want to park there. It's just summertime that they like to hang out with their friends. So they were parking there, so I roped it off because it's a big field. It's plain field. So they were parking there, so I roped it off so they could not damage the sewer or the septic system. They've actually declined with the rain. They haven't been parking back there.
Is there anything we could do that's maybe a little bit more permanent than that?
What would you like to see? What would you think?
That's up to us. Come up with something.
Because they're
like-
not, this is all grass, so in
No.
order to, I could put a
Because what we
sign.
don't want is someone to just keep driving right through. and
How about a sign that says
parking
they,
right on top
how
of
about a
it.
sign that says they can't do it at all?
Well, that's almost like an invitation to do it. It's like,
You're not
We
kidding.
want to hang out
though.
with that guy when he was young. So, and we could do some kind of like a landscape chain, you know.
let's
that
get
would-
chain or
Yeah.
whatever else, just something a little more substantial than
The visual
traffic
and,
cones
yeah.
that could be moved around,
Yeah,
fall
it
down
would
with,
just be
you know.
plastic pole.
Yep. No, I could do that, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Look,
An
not too far,
invitation. Did you speak to my parents? That would be an invitation. She said not to, let me try.
Just remind me, your classes are, like, they start out on a given hour, right?
Yes.
And how many, what's the maximum number of kids that you would have arriving for that class?
They're all staggered. So right now, my teams are between the numbers of, I think my smallest team has 7 on them, and my largest team has 18. So they stagger, so the team of 7 might arrive at 5, the next team might arrive at 5:15 with 12 more kids,
Okay.
and then that team leaves at 5:45, 6 o'clock team comes in. So I stagger the schedule so that everybody's congested in the parking lot. Last year I didn't have that ability because we started in a different building, but this year, knowing that I've been there already a year, I know the schedule. So I have it staggered so that I know there's enough time to drop off, get back in your car and leave, and it's open up for the next set of parents coming in.
So, is there any thinking about expanding the class size?
Well, teams vary, so our team's tryouts start in May. The most I can put on a team is 30. That is max that I could put on a team would be 30. For this point of this season, we already started our teams are already going. It's very unlikely that they would increase that number. People try out for teams by level, so we'd have to have a certain amount of children come in to want to do all-star cheerleading that have a certain level. Our choreography's already done, so no.
Okay, my only thought was, 30
Mhm.
cars arriving at
If next season, come May, I have a team of 30, I would be sure to make sure the next team doesn't start till 30 minutes later. So that those kids get in, the other team comes in, it's a smaller team. I wouldn't put a team of 30 and a team of 30 together.
Thank you.
So I just have a couple questions regarding the interior of the building.
Mhm.
What is separating your space from Uniplank space? The dotted line shown on the plan, what exactly is that?
The first dotted line, like dead center,
There's a wall that's between.
yep, this one, I'm telling you, this first dotted line going this way is a concrete wall. So that is a concrete wall that has a garage door and an emergency door dead center of it. The other wall is not complete yet, this is what we need to work on next, is gonna be a fire rated sheetrock wall.
Okay. So neither one of those the first wall is in?
The first wall is one of the,
And it
right,
just dead ends in the
Part of the
middle,
building,
in the
yeah.
middle of the space?
yes, and then it goes into a fire rated wall. So it's literally a box. So if you walk into the facility, you walk in, it's a box.
Okay, and I'm assuming that concrete wall is also fire rated, obviously, right? It's concrete block wall, and it makes sense that it's a fire wall. The next question is a legal one. That ADA accessible route that goes through Uniplank space, I'm assuming that our attorney would want to see that agreement and approve it to minimize risk on the town, approving something that may or may not be adequate to protect the town from approving something that isn't adequate.
We could make that part of the release, I think would probably be the best way to address that. So it's in the
Do I
release,
do
and
an
we could
amendment?
provide a copy.
I
With
just-
the
I-
neighboring tenant being a part of it?
Yeah, yep. Letting the tenant know. So.
Mhm.
Yep.
So the town attorney's approval would be part of your lease?
No, we would provide that language as an amendment to her lease, which is what the owner, which is what Uniplan, for your terms to confirm it's, we have the rights.
I just feel like.
We're not just telling you we have the rights.
I just feel like
have-
our attorney should be approving any agreement that we put in
Fine.
place with them.
Yep.
That's easy enough also.
I'll add that to the resolution as well. Is it? I'll add that to the resolution as well. Anything else, Jim?
That's all I have.
Do we have anyone from the public here for this public hearing? Hi, Neil. Could I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Wait a second, only one person. Gio, second by Phil?
Sure.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Public hearing is open. Neil, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Actually, I'm speaking on behalf of the URB. Topic right now. So,
If you go to the podium, you're off camera.
Oh.
Oh, easy.
So, We had a couple of questions. I think you really covered it pretty much with the parking. It's you kind of hit the question if they have 30 people here and then 30 people here. So how many total parking spaces do you really need if you're going to have two classes crossing at the same time? So it may be that if you have 30 and 30, you have to have 60 parking spaces. So I just have to, I'm sure you take care of that. The other thing I heard tonight was that there may be parking in the front of the building, in which case I think there's no light along the side of the building to walk that, from the front of the building to the back of the building. I know Gio's probably gonna hit that, nobody gets away without lighting. That's right. I'm aware of that. That's another concern. The other big concern we had, or the more significant concern probably, is the total number of people and the total sewer usage or wastewater usage, and whether or not the septic system is close for that. I'm not really worried about the overall water. We're not really worried about the overall water usage. It's still going to be very minimal compared to a house. However, the septic system may not have been designed for that. And the last thing is just having some kind of marking for a fire lane around the building. There's going to be a lot of people parking and traveling through there. I don't know whether you have it painted on the top, on the ground or not. But there needs to be a way for emergency vehicles to get around the entire building if it was ever needed. That would be helpful. All right, thank you.
Next, Ross, was the septic system evaluated as
Yep,
far as
we
the
did a dye test.
between the two uses?
Correct, yeah. With it in full use, we added 300 gallons to the system, checked the system, and it was operating properly.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Frank?
Yeah, just, I appreciate the discussion on ADA compliance, and Ross mentioned architect. So just to backtrack a little bit, you know, Uniplank went into this building, it used to be the student place, European outdoors, without a permit, drew the building department attention. They got their approved site plan, they applied for a permit, but everything kind of came before the CDA Extreme came in. I couldn't finalize the review for the permit for the Uniplank, because it got a little complicated with the mixed use, firewall, ADA, things like that. So they are aware they need to apply for a permit. We don't even have an application yet for the CDA. So an application comes in. I don't know if they're going to use the same people as Uniplank for us. If you could.
Uniplank is the one that's gonna handle
You gotta handle the
So
application.
the application and the permits and all that. This was my job.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
The
That's
building.
That's their job.
I'm doing my job. He has to do his job now and get this building the way it's supposed to be.
I could, you know, put a phone call in just to remind everybody.
They're expecting it.
Yes. Okay. So.
They asked me what the next step was, and I said they're with you.
Yeah, so
Hopefully.
they should start submitting, you know, drawings for the inside, how we're gonna get it to comply, specifically the ADA concerns.
I would like to be kept in the loop if you don't mind, just because I want to know what's happening, but.
Yes, you should speak to the owner and their design team.
Yes.
Okay?
Mhm.
And a lot of these questions will be answered, right? It's guidelines like the ICC 117.1, that's standards for accessibility in usable buildings and facilities. All that stuff we talked about is in that guideline. Chapter 11, I believe, of the building code talks about accessibility. So the plans have to reflect all that, all the applicable sections. Permit will eventually be issued, certificate of occupancy will eventually be issued, and this is like standard, but we've got to take it one step at a time.
Thanks, Frank.
Can you describe what the inside of the Uniplank
I
facility
can't
looks?
answer that. I have not been in that building in quite some time, so I don't know what's going on in there. Just like Russ said, you know, so the design team will have to put it on paper, issue the permit, we'll do the inspections accordingly.
Yeah, all right, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, you've got a lot of work to do with Frank, and
The building.
I didn't mean to suggest that what we're talking about should be the end of it. Like,
Yeah.
if
It's a
this
start.
route is through an industrial facility,
Yeah.
like that probably
There's-
doesn't work for the building department.
There's codes for that, yes.
Well, we need that. We need that Frank has to come in and the landlord, I've also made him very aware that Frank still has to come in and make the final approvals on the building itself.
What could be the maximum number of kids, coaches, administrative people on site at any one time
On my side only,
in your
50.
project?
50.
50.
That's what we've calculated for this season. So I did my teams, I added my teams together and I had my coaches together and we're up to max, it's technically 48.
Neil mentioned that some of the parking is going to be in the front of the building. Do you guys even think about possibly putting a walkway to the back, to your entrance from the front?
So I did not, because we don't have them walk, don't want them walking from the back to the front if we don't need to have them walking from the back to the front. If we were to expand and that parking lot turns into an actual drop-off that they have to walk from the back to the front, then yes, I will talk to the landlord about putting in a walkway. But at this point in time, the parking in the back really is sufficient enough. It's full, yes, but it's sufficient enough that everybody gets a parking spot. They can do what they have to do. They bring their kids and they come out. It still works. Now, say we grow, all right? That's the point of a business. Hopefully we do grow. And if that turns into we're no longer using it as an overflow parking and just a drop off, then that would be a discussion. And if you want to add that somewhere, that if we do grow and we still have people walking, that we add that in, I will speak to him about doing that.
There are probably gonna be employees that walk, though, right?
No, they park. We don't have many employees. There's 8 of us total.
Right, but do the employees park in the, is there a lot in that?
Yeah, they park in the back of the lot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If they do grow, I would like to see some kind of walkway, so that they're not walking from the driveway or the street.
Other comments? Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Not, can I have a motion then to close the public hearing? Eric, second by. Bill, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Public hearing is closed. Next step. Resolution.
Yes, based on the comments today, we can revise the resolution and circulate it to the board.
Can we go through it tonight, approve it with those?
I would suggest you do that so the applicant can come back.
Right.
Yes.
And then we'll just add those additional comments that were spoken on tonight as additional specific conditions.
Correct.
So if you could just go through that with us?
The draft as it is now.
Yes, please.
If I may, first line, so before you go beyond that. It should apply to CDA Training Center on behalf of 2596 and their respective successors in the summons.
You in the banner? Bill, was it in the banner or the first line of the narrative?
That's on the application summary.
Okay, the narrative, okay.
Mr. Chairman, what would you like me to do? To read
Just to go through one, any
the
findings.
specific conditions?
You know, we have to, well, obviously the public hearing is closed, that bold disappears, but the specific conditions.
Okay, specific conditions. Number one, prior to signing of the plans, the applicant shall, A, comply with the memorandum of the town engineer dated July 10th, 2026 to the satisfaction of the town engineer. B, revise the hours of operations listed on the plan to comply with the narrative report. C, revise the plan to include information on the proposed modifications to the existing monument sign. D,
D is the one we spoke about, as far as a little bit more permanent monumentation to prevent vehicular access on the septic field. So that bold one just got cleaned up. Yep.
2, prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall, A, verify with the building inspector that the ADA accessible route complies with the New York State existing building code. If it is determined by the building inspector that a ramp or other features required for ADA access, these features shall be installed prior to issuance of the certificate of occupancy. B, install striping and directional signage associated with the student drop-off and parking to the satisfaction of the building inspector. C, install striping and signage, example, no parking anytime, along one, the driveway accessing the rear parking lot, and two, the paved drive along the rear of the site to the satisfaction of the building inspector. D, remove the existing storage container located adjacent to the rear parking area. E, verify the building inspector that the restroom facilities associated with the proposed recreational business comply with the New York State existing building code. F, verify with the building inspector that the existing lighting complies with the town code. G, submit to the building department confirmation of approval from the New York State Department of Health for proposed uses of public water supply.
We were adding an additional, specific conditions.
Yeah, I had suggested that, Mr. Chairman. So this plan actually shows some landscaping. It's consistent with the plan that was approved by Uniplank, but last time I checked the site, the landscaping wasn't in. So I didn't know if this board wanted to make this a condition of this action, just to ensure that that landscaping gets in, because I was unaware until Frank mentioned it tonight what the status of Uniplank was.
So the landscaping that's required, you can put that back on your landwood, correct?
That's back on my number.
Yeah.
So if you could tell him that was on his original plan and note, that'd be great.
Yep, he knows it's on
You
the
could
original
remove that,
plan.
and you
And you reference,
No, I don't even think you need to reference it. I think you could remove it, as long as Frank's okay with that, and then the landscaping would be under the original approval last year.
okay, that works. Did we have one other?
Gio and I both had similar sort of legal requests, which was one that the applicant has to return to the board if they lose access to the front ADA
Mhm.
access. And I think Gio suggested that the additions, the amendments to her lease would be sent to the town.
Okay, so can we do that after Frank approves it? So once Frank, if Frank says no, then that's a moot point. So once Frank approves it, then I will amend the lease and send that in. Does that sound okay?
Prior to CO.
Yes, prior to the CO.
Yes, provide a copy. of
Because
the
me to
lease
amend the, me
approval
amending the lease
prior
and then he
to-
doesn't approve it makes no sense. If he says I need to do something else, then the landowner's gonna have to do something else.
I think that would come to light upon the issuance of the permit, right?
Yes.
So the design team, the
Mhm.
architect has to propose what's to be built, I have
Correct.
to approve it.
So if you approve it and you
Yeah.
say it's okay, then I'll put it in an amendment that if we ever lose access to it, because the tenant changes it for whatever reason, that we will.
Did we miss any conditions that we spoke
I
of?
think we had talked about a detailed dismissal procedure to be written, should be satisfactory to council and to building inspector.
I missed part of
A
that.
detailed dismissal procedure satisfactory to council and to the building inspector. And I think we also said that
There
there
was
would be
a
no
stag-
competitions.
There was a staggered and supervised.
Right.
Right.
And we did say that there would be practices, but no competitions at the facility.
Just to go back, when you talked about the detailed dismissal procedure, is that dismissal / arrival procedure? or-
Slash arrival.
You'll be both.
Both?
Yes. It's a safety issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the dismissal is really falling in line with like means of egress, which the architect will show the egress path.
Well, it's that, but also that there's supervision when they actually leave the facility on the way to the vehicles.
So, okay, so maybe a submission of policy and procedures on that.
I'm just gonna expand on the narrative. I did what we did with the little ones, I'll just do what we do with the older ones.
Just a narrative of some
Yep.
type to.
Mhm. No problem. Easy enough.
So, board, I just want to make sure of time. So that requirement, since it includes the architect, I would recommend it be a condition of the CO. Is that acceptable? With this this dismissal plan be reviewed prior to issuance of CO.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Who am I submitting it to? Who would like to receive that?
I would submit everything to the building department.
Okay.
And then distribute it to whoever needs to be reviewed.
All right, no problem, thank you.
Any other issues regarding the resolution?
We want to put a cap, or a maximum cap of attendees, participants, staff,
Yeah,
whatever the number is.
so again, that would be, as part of the code, right? Number of occupants,
Mhm.
the architect will determine the size of the space,
Okay.
the use, and that'll determine the number of occupants.
Okay.
It's the space and also the facilities, the water and sewage.
Water and sewage.
As far as being able to meet that number. Any other concerns?
No.
If not, then can I have a motion to approve the resolution of conditional approval amended site plan and special permit for CBA Extreme Training Center, otherwise known as 2596 Goshen, New York LLC, as modified this evening?
I'll make the motion.
Marty, second by.
I'll second it.
Gio, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Next item on the agenda is the Von Penn subdivision, 4-1-18. It's an application for small-scale subdivision and site plan approval consisting of 2 residential lots on 7.4 plus or minus acres along Hasbrook Road, RU zone with an AQ6 and scenic road corridor overlays. And again, we're here tonight for a public hearing. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Jim Dillon, and I'm representing the Von Penn subdivision. For the publics that's here, it is a 7.4 acre parcel. We're proposing to do a small scale development. There's one existing home on lot number 1, which is a single family residential home. And we're proposing to do a new lot, which is a little over 2 acres, which is lot number 2, which would have a single family home. We're proposing to put a new well and septic in. We've done well tests according to the small scale development. We're being in the AQ6, we're not supplying the 6 acres. We're supplying the 2 acres, which is required, which we're allowed to do if we do well testing. We're going to have a driveway out onto Hasbrook Road. We're going to be dedicating property along the entire roadway.
Offering
For dedication. A 25-foot strip from the center line of the road. And that's basically the application. It's a very simple application. It's a subdivision to create one more new building lot.
The driveway access been reviewed by the town highway department?
They've given them a permit to put the driveway in already. Sean has some questions that we're going to address. I think that's in, which we're going to be able to address. The driveway's actually been put in. They had to drill the well.
The access.
And that's all set.
Sure.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is an application for subdivision as well as site plan because the application is in the scenic road corridor. You had reviewed this at your August 6th meeting. At that time, you adopted Part 2 AF. You scheduled a public hearing this evening, and you received some determinations from Frank relative to the storage building and the driveway setback. Frank has been reviewing the pre-existing non-conforming conditions. So again, this is listed this evening for public hearing. However, since it's a subdivision, I think we need to act on the negative declaration before we open the public hearing.
Everyone's got the neg deck before them? Everyone had an opportunity to look at it. Any comments? from Gio. See that going? Bill?
No comment.
No comments, okay. Can I have a motion then to approve the neg deck as prepared?
So moved.
Gio, second by?
Second.
Bill, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay. Neg deck is approved. Do we have anyone from the public here for this application?
Neil.
No.
I'm just
I'm gonna pass. Thank you.
Nobody from the public, okay. Well, I'll open up the public hearing in any event. Could I have a motion? Eric, second by?
I'll second it.
Who is that?
Marty.
Marty, okay. Second by Marty. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Public hearing is open. Any comments from the board?
No.
Last chance for the public. Can I have a motion then to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Gio? Second by? Bill? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Public hearing is closed. We have a draft resolution before us. We can go through that as well. You're up.
Okay, I need a draft resolution before you, the specific conditions.
Before we get to the specific conditions, I just had one item I just wanted to add to it, on the identification of plans. The short form EAF Part 2 wasn't listed. It was dated July 31st of this year.
July 31st this year.
Yeah, July 31st.
Quick question, the dedication of the 25-foot along the road,
Yes.
what made you do that? Does it already need to be widened or?
Oh, it's a standard procedure, otherwise we'd own out into the middle of the road. You actually, the town automatically already has, not a fee taking, but they have a right of way to use it anyway, by state law.
Oh, because you own right to the road, okay.
Right, we own out to the middle. So instead of having a right of way, you have fee. Which is-
Before you do that, same kind of successes and some. After the vote on tells us, and their successes, and someone's here and after the applicant.
The findings, Mr. Chairman?
Please.
Findings. The planning board has determined that approval of this minor subdivision and site plan will protect and promote public health, safety, comfort, convenience.
Oh, you don't have to read that part, that's boilerplate.
Okay.
Just the bold.
The planning board further finds, in accordance with the requirements for the scenic road corridor overlay district, that this project will not result in the degradation of scenic character, will be aesthetically compatible with its surroundings, will minimize the removal of native vegetation, except where such removal may be necessary to open up scenic views and panoramas, and will locate and cluster buildings and other structures in a manner that minimizes their visibility from the road to the extent practical.
In that paragraph, where we say that except where removal may be necessary for scenic views and panoramas, should we also include in there to maintain slight distances from the driveway? Is that something?
I think it would be appropriate, because in this instance, the applicant is going to do some clearing to improve the site distances from the driveway.
Okay.
The planning board further finds that the project presents a proper case for for requiring a park or parks suitably located for playgrounds or other recreational purposes, but suitable parks or recreation areas of adequate size to meet this requirement cannot be properly located on the site, requiring a payment of a parkland fee to be determined by the town board in lieu of providing such parkland. Pursuant to Code Section 83-19B, the planning board has waived the requirement to plant street trees along New York State Route 207. Such trees are unnecessary as the area is wooded and the existing vegetation is to be retained.
And that road name has got to be changed.
It's Hasbrook, yes, yeah,
It's
inside.
Hasbrook.
Would you like me to continue with the specific conditions?
Please.
Number one, prior to signing of the plat by the chairman, the applicant shall: A, revise the plans to include a calculation of the impervious surface coverage, noting the code requires impervious surface coverage to be calculated after wetlands and floodplains are deducted from the gross area pursuant to Code Section 8322B 2Q. B, revise the plat in accordance with the July 31st, 2026 memorandum of the town engineer to the satisfaction of the town engineer. C, provide confirmation from the building inspector that the large structure adjacent to the southerly lot line of lot number 1, labeled storage building, is not being used for residential purposes. Before any residential occupancy of the building, the applicant must return to the town for additional approvals.
Was that the town planning board?
Yeah, to the town who?
And it should be returned to the town planning board for its consideration of the approvals.
D, confirm to the satisfaction of the town engineer that stopping site distance and intersection site distance requirements are satisfied in both east and west directions, and revise the plans showing the clearance of existing vegetation along the sight line to the west. Prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall confirm the site distances after vegetation clearing. E, provide an offer of dedication for the 0.62 acre parcel along the southerly side of Hasbrook Road to the town for highway purposes, and revise the plat to show the same. Such dedication documents shall be in a form acceptable to the town attorney. 2,
I'm sorry, could I raise a question?
Sure.
Some of these requirements that we're talking about are going to be after the planning of the chairman signs it. Like prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall confirm site distances and vegetation and clearing. We're not going to do any of that until we get an approved site plan. And we file a map and we do all the things. That's something when we start construction that we'll do. We're not going to clear that first.
That's why it says.
That's what it says
prior to-
before,
I'm sorry.
C of O.
That's a C of O.
Certificate of occupancy. So that's after everything's done, the house is
But
built.
this is listed as before you sign the map.
Yes.
I thought it started.
It is, but it saves having another condition. It's just, it's like a compound condition. You have one part to do before getting the plat signed, and then you have to do the second part before getting the CO.
Okay, but it's just listed as before signing, the first statement is.
Would you feel more comfortable if we added another condition?
No, I just maybe put it in under general conditions.
No,
Okay,
it's not a general condition, it's a specific condition to this application.
okay.
Like, we can add it as a different condition if it causes some confusion or anything like that.
I know we have to do it, but it seems like it seems like we have to do it before we sign.
Would the board like to just add it? Prior to, just break it apart?
How does the board feel?
How do you feel? It's like you said. Technically, but.
Putting that one sentence as number 7.
Maybe going back to E, the approval, the form is acceptable to the town attorney, to the town planning board,
It's typically the town attorney. Yeah, I look back at some past times we've done that, the last 3 or 4 times in the town attorney.
Okay.
Okay, number 2, prior to issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall demonstrate to the satisfaction of the building inspector that the plan will comply with landscaping, architecture, and fencing requirements of code sections 97-29 G, H, and I. 3, prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall chlorinate the lot number 2 water supply well and provide a negative total coliform laboratory test to the building department. 4, prior to any site disturbance, the limits of clearing and disturbance shall be shown on the plan and shall be identified in the field with appropriate signage, flagging, and/or fencing that is posted conspicuously on the site to the satisfaction of the building inspector. 5, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the shed labeled "shed to be relocated" shall be relocated so that it is not within the required 30-foot front yard setback pursuant to code section 9740AF. 6, the installation of any on-site sewage disposal system shall be observed during construction by the town engineer if requested by the building inspector. And then there'll be a new sentence 7 on part D.
Is there anything that you see the need to add?
No, it's pretty thorough, thank you.
Sean,
Mr. Chairman.
any other concerns from the board? If not, then could I have a motion to approve the resolution of conditional preliminary and final approval, minor subdivision and site plan for Grover and Teresa Von Pence, etc., as modified this evening?
So we'll move.
Bill, second by Phil. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against?
Okay,
We're all set.
thank you very much.
Have a good night. Next item on the agenda is Marte Holdings Group, LLC. Oh,
Yeah.
Marte, you look at the wrong agenda, it's not supposed to agenda. I'm sorry. Been a long night, okay.
Then it's gonna get along.
Yeah.
Plans, Jim?
Not anymore.
Next one on the agenda is IWS Transfer Station, Goshen Transfer Station upgrades. 12-1-20, 21.21, and 21.22. Application for a site plan and special permit for modifications to an existing solid waste management facility on 7.3 plus or minus acres along Hartley Road in I-zone and AQ6 overlay. And we're here tonight again, for a public hearing. First off, do we have anyone here for this public hearing? I see a couple hands up. Very good. Okay, so if you could just give a brief description of what's
Yes.
being proposed?
Yes.
As far as the modifications?
Yep. So we're here to get reapproval for a site plan to build a 9,345 square foot addition to the existing transfer station building, a 430 square foot mechanical room, a 65,000 gallon water storage tank, in support of the existing transfer station operations. We recently received an 80B solid waste permit from the town board to accept up to 670 tons of MSW and C&D. We're currently
So it's no longer the recyclables, correct?
no longer recyclables, correct, yes. And we're working with the New York State DEC with that permit renewal / modification. And that's basically where we're at. They didn't have any comments, the DEC did not have any comments on our proposed site plan and modifications. Little technical details on the engineering report and facility manual, just verbiage, whatnot. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
And what you see here is what was approved back in February of 2024.
What do you think
We received approval, site plan approval and special permit approval from the planning board back in February of 2024.
Okay.
It expired.
It expired, that's
So
what
what
I'm
you
hearing.
see here is what you approved back in February.
Just tweaked?
Minor little tweaks, nothing, you know,
What did we end up coming up with the height of the water tower?
it's 40 feet.
It is 40 feet?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what's on the plan right now as well.
Okay. It was a 22. Yeah. Sean?
So, Mr. Chairman, this is, as the applicant indicated, it's a reapproval, right? So they were before you in 23 and 24, which culminated in site plan special use permit approval on February 29th, 2024. One of your conditions required them to go to the town and either obtain a solid waste management permit or obtain confirmation from the town board that it was required. The town board determined that it wasn't required. They have since obtained that permit. In the time that it took them to do that, their site plan and special permit extensions have been exhausted, so they are applying to you again, essentially for the same application. There are some minor modifications that were made. Some of those modifications were requested by the town board. There's water storage added, the height of the tank was changed, the location, and this was last discussed at your August 6th meeting, and we scheduled a public hearing.
And the 40-foot tower, that falls within 45 feet?
45 feet, yeah.
Okay. Comments from the board? No? It's you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. I will open up the meeting to the public on the motion.
I'll make
Marty, second by?
I'll second it.
Julie. Eric, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak, just raise your hand. We'll recognize you if you give us your name and your address and your concern. Please.
Casella Grossman, Kate Schoolhouse Road, Goshen, Chairman and members of the Planning Board. The purpose in submitting the following comments is to request that the Planning Board fully examine the existing and historical operations of the IWS transfer system on Hartley Road. the properties being used in connection with those operations, the facilities documented, stormwater, history, the prior town approval, and seeker findings, and the relationship of all those matters to the application presently before the board. The documents discussed raise significant questions regarding the actual operation footprint of this facility. I respectfully ask the board to consider the following before granting the final approval or making a determination. This applicant should provide the complete prior planning board approval, including the prior resolution, conditional approval, approved site plan, and all conditions attached to that approval. If the present application is being treated as the modification, renewal, or continuation of a previously approved project, the planning board and the public should be able to make a direct comparison between what was previously approved and what is now proposed, such as the property previously approved, the previously approved operational footprint, the building location, truck circulation, trailer storage area, parking, stormwater facilities, leachate control facilities, approved paved areas, and all conditions imposed by the town. Without those documents, it is difficult for the public to determine exactly what has changed. It is my understanding that the conditional site plan was approved by the planning board on February 29th, 2024. That plan should be made part of the current application record. The applicant should provide a side-by-side comparison between that conditional site plan and the present proposal, showing all changes in parcel boundaries, acreage, building footprint, truck bays, truck circulation, parking, trailer storage, snow storage, stormwater facilities, leachate facilities, and the use of the adjacent property. The applicant should identify parcel that is currently being used, proposed to be used, leased, controlled, or otherwise relied upon in connection with the transfer station operation. For each parcel, the applicant should identify tax map number, acreage, owner, IWS's legal right to use the property, existing use, proposed use, whether the parcel was included in a prior planning board approval, and whether it is included within the current solid waste permit, and whether it is included within the current stormwater permit and swap. This information should be shown on one comprehensive map. Next, I'd like to introduce Sue Cleaver, and she will address her concerns on this application.
I would normally recognize Sue. That's my job.
Oh, okay.
Sue, would you like to step up and speak?
Good evening. Is it okay if I approach the board to give you copies of a written from Protect Conserve Residents' Way of Life? It's not for profit.
I would say give it to the building department, they'll distribute it.
Okay.
It's not where we're gonna be able to read it on the spot now anyway.
Sorry. shorten the comments that were made in there because it's friendly. I have a copy of an email. I'd like to read part of it from DEC. And it says, DEC is aware that IWS Goshen Transfer Station operations extend beyond the 95 Hartley Road property.
When was this written? What's the date of the correspondence?
March 4th.
Okay.
Of this year?
Yes. That to me is very troubling. There have been pictures of the property in the back that I believe, and I think I've also submitted complaints to the building inspector because of no cover over top of some of the trailers that are there. That property is not paved, it's dirt. And I'm gonna explain to you why in just a minute. Property behind, besides, and across the street that is used for trucks, trailers, containers, equipment, snow, access, and other supported activities should be disclosed and reviewed as part of the actual transfer station. Snow storage, that's shown on the back property. If snow from industrial site is stored on adjoining or leased property, the board should know where it goes, where the meltaway drains to, and what controls prevent sediment and other pollutants from reaching groundwater or surface water or other people's property that might abut. Leased property, if the proposed operation depends on leased land, the board should determine what happens if the lease ends and whether the facility could still operate under the approval being requested.
I'll try to interrupt you for a moment, sir. They have to come before the town, Sean, Rudy, on an annual basis to renew the permit?
There is a renewal, solid waste management permit, I don't recall, I think it might be 5 years. Mr. Chairman. I can
So
take a
if
look.
the lease were to lapse on the adjacent property holders that are letting them use the property, that has to be reviewed with any
I would think so.
renewal of their
Yeah,
permit?
It would make sense that the town board would review that as part of the reissuance of the solid waste management.
So we would need to make sure that those properties are cited in the permit.
Yes.
Okay.
Facility boundaries, applicant should clearly distinguish the permitted facility, the IWS owned land, the leased land, operational land, trailer and container areas, stormwater areas, and any property claimed to be outside the application. Your application went from, I believe, under 3 acres to over 7. Where's the rest of the property? You're saying that it's a very minor deal, this modification, but it's more than doubled in
So
size.
where did the 7 come from? I saw that.
I don't know.
in
It's on
somebody's-
It's on your agenda.
yeah, and it's been on it.
Because we're adding a quarter, I think it was a quarter acre
I-
adjacent,
Yeah.
but I didn't
Yeah.
see any other lands. I don't know where the 7 came from.
I don't know. I'm asking you, and I'm asking
It's
the
on your agenda
applicant.
that way, Lee.
It's coming from the agenda.
Yeah,
Okay.
that number's coming from there.
Okay,
Mr.
so,
Chairman, I prepare the agendas for the town, I can tell you where that came from.
Okay.
So I copy and paste from previous agendas. So I'm guessing that at one point in time, and I'd have to look back at all the agendas that the applicant's been on, at one point in time, that was the acreage of the site. But it subsequently got changed and I can change the agenda.
okay.
So that.
So it's not 7.
You can
No,
see the applicant right
no,
now.
no, I think that goes way back.
We have 3 plus.
It's 3 acres, but we do lease a small area from the,
Yeah.
from
Where the snow
Elter.
pile is.
Yes,
If you
yeah,
remember,
right.
Mr. Chairman, when this was before you in 2023, the applicant was proposing stormwater on the southern
Right,
parcel.
right, we were, good. yeah.
And that's how they had
Exactly.
three.
So that's why it
Yeah,
came.
I just never updated the agenda.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, truck and trailer configuration. When I pulled up the old map that you have online and what is online right now, it did not really match. The old maps had the trucks coming in from the backside going in. I think now you show 2 bays on the backside and 6 bays where the current bays are, where the trucks are supposed to pull in and back up. I don't really see what the difference is, because that's configuration almost of what you have right now, except there are going to be more bays. The claimed environmental benefit, I just don't see what it's going to be. I really don't. And I think this should be made clear. A complete stormwater review, if you're putting in the back piece, even if it's a 1/4 acre and it's on dirt, and you're gonna have trailers like you've been having there that are uncovered, which they're not supposed to be when
But
they're
they're, they are empty. They're empty.
Some of the ones, the photographs I have, they're not empty. And they didn't have a solid cover, because you can see it had the netting on it. And I believe that's a violation of a permit. You should have the stormwater should be reviewed to include if you are putting that back acreage in, which the town board has not approved. I think that that has to be taken into account for all the calculations done for leachate, everything else. You can't just add property and say, ha ha ha, it doesn't matter. Historical stormwater exceedances, and this is the part that I am very troubled about. The facility shows major past exceedances from outfall number 001, including TSS, which was over 1,000 milligrams a liter, against a stated 100 milligrams a liter. Iron, 14,800 UG a liter against 1,000. Lead, 78.4 UG a liter against 69 UG a liter, and there's photographs in the back of the packets I just gave you of this. The facility itself, they have a report as part of the permit they have. It's called a corrective action. They have exceedances, they have to fill out the corrective actions report. Their report, they cite it on the truck traffic and the wheels from the leachate. What is this board doing about that? Right now, where this discharge goes over to Amy's. I know that it said something in the last resolution about plugging up the discharge pipes, which I really don't understand how you're gonna plug them up. But you can't just discharge stuff like that onto somebody else's property. That's irresponsible. I want to know what you're going to do about it. And the applicant says over and over and over again on the correction action form, they blame it on the trucks, and they're going to do better housekeeping. I mean, how many times can you do that? Is that okay with this board? The other thing is, and I'm not gonna go through all this. When John Capello was here, and the last finding statement that was done for a permit, when I believe it switched over to IWS, it was agreed that they would uphold the approval for the permits. And anything, they signed it. If you need a copy of it, I have it. If they don't have it at the town board. Their findings was there was going to be no trailers across the street. They were all going to Chester, and they gave the reason why environmentally there wouldn't be any trailers. Between across the street and over and back, it's segmentation, what you guys are doing. You approved, your last approval was only, and it was stated by Kelly Norton, it was only for the facility itself. It did not include the property in the back. So now you've got the property in the back and the property across. That's segmentation. Anyway, you'll see it's like a 30-page, it's a 30-page letter because there's so many different issues on this. It's just, come on. Anyway, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Do we have anyone else that wishes to speak?
Good evening, my name is Chris Healy, I'm a resident of the town of Goshen. I also serve on the ERB and the ZBA boards here in the town, however, I speak this evening as a resident of the town. My issue is, I'd like to follow up on what Mrs. Cleaver said, and although she has all the facts and figures, I'm just a bit more on the code. I think we have an administrative issue. Specifically, Town Code 80-B-9, subparagraph B, subparagraph D. This is limitation on town land area used for solid waste management. I'll paraphrase. It says that you can't have more than 300 acres in the town of Goshen to be used for solid waste management. It also includes, it says including that owned by the County of Orange. We're talking about the Orange County landfill. The Orange County landfill itself is 299 acres. This new agreement that I've seen from IWS in this iteration, I have now seen a lease agreement for a 3-acre lot, SBL 12-1-21.22. This is a 3-acre lot that sits behind our current facility. Mr. Chairman, I heard you say tonight that it's possibly a 1/4 acre addition.
Well, the quarter is the one that's northwest of the property where the snow pile is intended to go.
Okay, now that is
One
the
of the snow
one,
piles.
and that is the one that says snow storage. That is 12-1-22.22. I've seen nowhere that it says 1/4 acre. I saw a dashed outline on a map, but to be clear, that is a 3-acre lot, and the lease states that they will lease a 3-acre lot. That's it, and that's what they legally have right to. In other words, that's a 3-acre expansion. Also, I'd like to follow up on the previous speaker's comments that the property across the street, 12-1-17.32, is a 5-acre lot being used for trailer storage. And I understand where the applicant would say, we're just storing our trailers there. But they're not just trailers. These are trailers used for municipal solid waste. I have said before that this business in particular it is not the applicant's fault, that it's just a very dirty business. You can't help but to have leachate. You just can't help it. Lowboys, rollbacks, and open trailers are being stored on that lot. There is no way the applicant can hose these things out each time. So they're going to remain dirty, they're going to have material in them. It is going to rain on these vehicles, and that leachate goes into the ground. And it's all permeable surface. This is all going into our watershed, and it is an environmentally sensitive area. I do not see how the board cannot consider that 5-acre lot part of this facility now. As Mrs. Cleaver said, at one point, it was said that these vehicles would be stored in another town, making it another town's problem, but they're not. They're being stored in the town of Goshen, and that's the town of Goshen's problem. And that's a problem for me, because I live here. So when you talk about a 3-acre lease and a 5-acre lot being used across the street, we're talking about 8 acres of municipal solid waste use on what is already a 300-acre cap in the town of Goshen. As an administrative matter, I don't see how the board can approve any more because we're capped. The Orange County landfill has us capped at 299 acres, and that's by design. We designed this when we updated the plan back then. We didn't want more. If you want more, town board needs to change the law. By the way, tried that 2 years ago and it failed. I don't think it's going to pass today either. I appreciate the board's time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Service. Neil.
Thank you very much. I always like speaking last because then people take everything I have to say. So this really cuts it down. But for those of you who don't know the history, way back when Waste Management owned it, actually prior to Waste Management, Northern Recycling owned the property. And then we at that point in time, there was a gentleman who lived nearby, Charlie Olson. Maybe somebody remember the name. Always complained about the garbage blowing over the fence and all the noises from the back of the fields. At that point in time, Waste Management came in and actually took over the property, and that was when the first canopy over the top, the first roof, and the first walls right there came into play. It was actually the result of this planning board when that happened. That was not being proposed by anybody else at the time. It was probably the first facility like that in at least Region 3. Since that time, the DEC tried to claim it was their idea. However, it really did come from here, and that's why we have these going inside like that now. So what I did want to bring up though is that there were some differences between what's being proposed tonight and what's being presented tonight and what was approved by you in 2024. And as Sue said, certainly that even whether it's a quarter acre or 3 acres behind the property, that was not part of the approval that you gave then, nor was it consideration when the town gave their 80B permit. So that quarter acre or 3 acres, whatever is behind there, was never part of that approval. It's outside of that. And then Sue said something about the compactors coming in the back of the property. I'm not sure what that impact is or what the difference is, except that they're going in different. The one question, one issue kind of is, there is on the site plan, I'm not sure, it's just ask me to remember, there's a 24-inch culvert going onto the Amy's Kitchen property, and there's a 36-inch culvert going onto the Altori property in the opposite direction. And at that point, you're supposed to plug them up or whatever. If you have two stormwater pipes that are that big, you have to really question where the stormwater is now going. There is no additional stormwater collection anywhere. It's got to be, if it's not going down those pipes and going out the pipes, it's got to be going sheet flow off the property onto neighbors. There's no containment there. There is a new containment for, I believe it's being designed for the leachate off the tipping floor. And I think that all that leachate inside the building there is going to be collected in those tanks, but those tanks are not sized, nor is the infrastructure in there to collect all the stormwater that's landing on the pavements. I think that really needs to be looked at because of the issue of it goes off-site, it's going into the groundwater sooner or later. And ultimately, there are at least, and there's also a fraction trace going down there, and there are at least 2 municipalities that have drinking water down there, one of them being the town of Wallkill, the other one being the village of Goshen. So whatever goes in the ground possibly ends up showing up in the village of Goshen's water coming from the ground. And the other concern I still have is the driveway access, or the trucks leaving the property. We still are showing that you're going to have to go head-on into the opposing traffic. And we keep saying that we don't know how to do that. And I'm old, I'm probably the oldest person in the room here, so I can tell you that I get a little bit panicky when I get down to Woodbury Commons, and you take the exit there and you're going to go over to Woodbury Commons, and you're going across the bridge on the wrong side of the road.
You don't like the pretzel?
It is a weird situation, but I'm not so sure that you can't do something similar to that coming out of this facility. Give a pretzel there or whatever else, but it's not going to be so freaky because the people going in and out using that pretzel are going to be the drivers for IWS and the people who use that facility regularly. I always succeed in getting through. I haven't had an accident yet at that pretzel, but it always, wow, this is weird. Okay, but I think a better use or a better design can be made for that driveway coming out, so you don't have people coming head on into the incoming traffic. And I think there's a significant thing that we have developed 3 properties along there. Tam, Higby, and the one across the street is now on-time disposal, I think it's called. So those 3 have been added. Plus, we also have a parking area down there for the Heritage Trail. And since we went ahead and paved that road, Hartley Road used to be really terrible, but since we went ahead and paved it, we have a lot more traffic going through there because it's not like going down a dirt road and banging your car. So there's a lot more traffic going through there on a regular basis. It's getting more and more of an issue, the amount of traffic going there. It's going to get even more so when we develop everything along 17M. And 17M, people are looking for ways to get around 17M now. During the day, you can back up a quarter mile to a half mile sometimes. I know I've gone through there, and I'm just under 17, you start to hit the road traffic all the way through. Now, what I'd like to do is speak on behalf of the ERB for a couple of items. The parcel used for snow storage, disregarding whether or not it's allowed to be added to it, or whatever. ERB is not making any kind of legal judgment or anything else. But disregarding that, and then assuming that it was allowed to be added, I think there was a big concern about whether or not, or how that parcel could be used, and whether or not it should be lined. If you're pushing snow off the blacktop, it's going to have salt in it, possibly it's going to have whatever's on the property from the leachate or from the from the trucks. It's gonna be there, and you're gonna be pushing it off onto there. Right now, if all you're doing is pushing it off onto the dirt, it's gonna go in, it's gonna melt, it's gonna go into the ground. We have trouble in one part of town right now from salt already. We don't need to have that added there. There are, Sue said something about the contamination that's all coming off site on the leachates and coming off the vehicles. That is in the report that the applicant's saying one of the big concerns is that the dirty tires are doing it. I don't have any experience with garbage trucks like that, but I do know that I have experience on construction sites where what they do is they have tire washes. You either drive through a tire washer or at Legoland, they used to just hose them down, every truck going off site. Something like that may need to come into play, because if you go past the front of that facility sometimes, you can see a trail there. And I don't think it's grease, I think it's whatever else. But you can see where they're coming out, where they're traveling. And there is also a requirement in our code, and it's also in the DEC's code, that all solid waste facilities, including transfer stations, have to be fully enclosed with fencing. If this parcel in the back, this quarter acre or third of an acre or 33 acres back there, is not part of this facility, the fence should be moved up to the property line and to eliminate anything going off the back. I know it's not this, but I think from the past, back when it was just on part of the Altori landfill, there actually used to be a gate back there, so that people could take the garbage through there on the off hours, so that we can get back to the landfill. We are not in that situation now, but that's the reason why the gate's essential. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve. Anyone else from the public wish to speak?
You can either adjourn the public hearing if you receive additional comments, or you can close the public hearing, you can discuss the application, it's really how you want to process the application.
Can we close it and have a window for written comments to be submitted subsequently?
Of course you can. Yes.
Is that reasonable? Good.
I would think that would be very reasonable.
Yes.
So then you would need a motion to close the public hearing and allow, what, 10 days?
Yeah, let me give you an actual date. Sure. So today's 20th, 10 days is the 30th, which is Sunday, if you want to go to into business on the 31st.
Could I have a motion then to close the public hearing now and allow for written comments to be submitted to the town building department by close of business on August 31st?
I'll make the motion.
Marty, second by? Eric, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Well, I want to thank everyone in the public for your comments. And if you come up with anything additional that wasn't raised this evening, pass them on to the building department and they will be shared with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will be right back.
Great, thank
Let's do it. Your approval. Do it. I suggest Kansas. The one that she has.
She goes out, that's what
Sorry for that. Next item on the agenda is Mark Hay Holding Group LLC, 15-1-71.4. Application for a clearing and grading permit for 3 single-family dwellings on 9.854 plus or minus acres on Reservoir Road and Lower Reservoir Road in the RU zone with an AQ3 and street corridor and reservoir watershed overlays. And we have before us a conditional resolution to consider this evening. We have the map up on the wall. This is what's being proposed. This is, if you want to skip a brief summary,
Yeah,
make it clear that what we're actually looking at.
yeah, this is the same plan we had last time. It's the 0.9 acres of disturbance, upgrading and clearing. It's just to allow access to the site, driveway for the well driller to be able to install the new well, so we can obtain the Orange County Health Department approval required for us as a condition of the conditional approval we have for planning board. So that's just what we're seeking at this time, just the grading.
Just to clear and grade. Thank you. Rudy, what are yours?
Thank you. I want to start by pointing out that this resolution has successors and assigns. We got it at that time. Specific conditions. Number 1, per section 5311 of the town code, site preparation activities shall be conducted only between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 7 p.m. when within 1,500 feet of any residence. No site preparation activity shall be conducted on Sundays or public holidays.
Just a quick question. If you read above resolution of approval, it says the planning board further finds that the application materials or information required by chapter 53 of the town code, but not listed above or contained within those materials. With a reference to those materials, is what? Which materials?
I can answer that. So that is, it's not a general condition, but that is typically in most of your clearing and grading applications. This is a permit. This is a site plan approval. This is a permit, and the code has very specific items that need to be submitted. In some instances, they may not be either appropriate or applicable. So, for example, I don't necessarily know if your code does this, but a lot of codes will say they want the phone numbers of the adjoining property owner. That's not really applicable. So what this does is it says that anything that they haven't provided, you're waiving.
And I'm just not clear, those listed materials, listed where?
Listed in chapter 53 of the code.
Okay. You may proceed with your.
Number 2, per section 53-11B of the town code, the applicant shall be required to submit all contracts to perform clearing and grading activities to the town attorney prior to the issuance of a clearing and grading permit. Number 3, prior to issuance of a clearing and grading permit by the building inspector, the applicant shall comply with the memorandum of the town engineer dated July 30th, 2026, to the satisfaction of the town engineer. 4, the applicant has indicated the net volume of soil to be 2,907 cubic yards of cut. The clearing and grading plan, drawing number G1, shows an approximate 45-foot by 25-foot topsoil stockpile.
You probably should say 45-foot diameter, 25-foot high.
Prior to the issuance of a clearing and grading permit by the building inspector, the applicant shall revise the plan to the satisfaction of the town engineer, showing how the excess soil will be stockpiled on site. If it is determined that the limits of the disturbance shown on the plan need to be expanded to accommodate the excess soil, the applicant shall return to the planning board for additional review. 5, after approval of a clearing and grading application, but before issuance of any permit, the applicant is required to file with the town clerk a performance guarantee in the amount of $74,785. Per section 53-12A of the town code, the guarantee is required to be either a certified check or a letter of credit, and the form must be approved by the town attorney. 6, prior to issuance of a clearing and grading permit by the building inspector, the applicant shall identify the limits of clearing and disturbance as shown on the plans in the field with appropriate signage, flagging, and/or fencing to the satisfaction of the building inspector. 7, prior to the issuance of a clearing and grading permit by the building inspector, the applicant shall provide the building department with documentation regarding permit status with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. 8, prior to issuance of a clearing and grading permit by the building inspector, the applicant shall provide a fully executed indemnification and hold harmless agreement to the satisfaction of the planning board attorney.
So why is that the planning board attorney, not the town attorney?
That's how it's been in the past.
So-
It was prior practice.
In connection with clearing and grading permits, do we have situations where herbicides are used? And I bring that up because we are fairly close to the reservoir.
To my knowledge, I never ran across where there was herbicides used. Basically machinery.
You don't think it would be?
I would, if you wanted as a condition, just to back it up, that's something.
And add a number 9 saying no herbicides shall be used. Yes?
We do have it on the actual site plan. Pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, and other chemicals shall not be used on the site. Because that was concerned with the project.
We go with that, Sean?
Yeah.
Particularly if it's a watershed for the rest.
Absolutely, yeah, it was an original approval for all the purposes.
Okay.
Other comments, considerations for this resolution? Not, could I have a motion then to?
Hold on. Just a quick clarification. What will be the eventual access point for the houses there?
Lower Reservoir Road.
It will be lower?
Yeah, it's currently up to the property line. There is already that curb cut in. Yeah, but it's gravel. There's a culvert pipe as well.
Okay, so no access off reservoir?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any other comments, concerns? Not, could I have a motion then to approve the resolution of conditional approval, clearing and grading permit for Marte Holdings Group and successors and assigns 80 Lower Reservoir Road as modified this evening? So moved. Bill, second by?
I'll second it.
Giovanni, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against?
If you drive down.
We have an approval.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Salamone Ready Mix of New York, 12-1-102 and 106.2. You have an application for a site plan for a light industry on 16.3 plus or minus acres on Musket Court, I-zone, AQ3 overlay. Welcome.
Chairman Burgess, members of the board, Stephen Megliante, Whiteman House, Manhattan, on behalf of the applicant. As the famous guy once sang, along the winding road has in fact brought us back to you. We're here tonight, happy to report we received a positive interpretation from the zoning board. The silos now zoning compliant. We received a memo from Sean regarding kind of catching everything up. It has a lot of informational stuff. In fact, we presenting responses to that, obviously, things that aren't, but there's nothing that appears to, at first blush, to be anything other than just, updates to the plan. Tonight I have with me Larry O'Brien from High Point Engineering, as well as John Saballero from Stonefield regarding the traffic. We can walk through the traffic mitigation if that's the board's preference. It's the same as what we considered when we granted the negative declaration back in May. And that same traffic mitigation plan that was essentially worked on and approved by John Canning from Kimley Horn, which was your consultant.
Great.
We're looking for a public hearing.
Is that?
We're looking for you to schedule a public.
Well, I was thinking of doing that. It's okay.
Yeah, no.
Can I just,
Sure. Go ahead.
so, the ERB very astutely made this point, or noted this, that the traffic mitigation plan has sort of been superseded by the town of Waymanda's new road laws. They have weight restrictions on those roads, so I don't know if you have a new traffic mitigation plan. I feel like it's not sort of our problem. Our problem is just not having those left turns, and you guys can figure out where the trucks go, but.
Kind of took the words out of my mouth, but Mr. Saballero here as well, from Stonefield. Exactly, we mitigated to the extent that we limited the left turns.
Yeah, good evening, Chairman, members of the board. John Saballero, Stonefield Engineering, traffic engineer. Yeah, exactly what you were just saying. And the plan for that whole detour mitigation is really, we're hoping not to use it too much. Most of our traffic, we're going to tell our employees, our delivery drivers, we have full control over because there is no retail sales at this site. So everyone coming in and out of the site, it's up to the operator. They'll all be coming from the west, and yeah, hoping to not use that detour too much as long as we don't have to. But yeah, the Waymanda's thing, as far as I understand, that road is under the jurisdiction of the county.
I don't think that's accurate. All right, so the road that you're talking about is Denton.
At the time.
It is a town road, and it's split. A portion is under the town of Waymanda's jurisdiction, and portions under the town of Goshen. Now, there may be some intermunicipal agreements that either the county or one of the two towns maintains it. Right? It doesn't make a lot of sense to plow to a certain point and turn around. So I can look into who maintains that with the highway superintendent if you'd like. But I just wanted you to know that it is town of Waymanda's jurisdiction.
Again, we've looked at the left turns. That was one was regarding the deck. And that's the plan that John Canning has also approved on the other.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective is you can teleport the trucks. It doesn't, like, as long as they don't make left turns, the Goshen's problem is pretty solid, but.
Our client is putting up a bond, making a fair share contribution toward eventual, improvements on 17M. So we have a lot of, our client has a lot of incentive to make sure that the left turns are made.
Any other comments? For public hearing, what were we looking at as far as the fee?
It's up to you, Mr. Chairman. You could check with Grace before the meeting. If you'd like to have it on September 3rd and 10th, we can make sure that we get the notices out. You do have 5 other applications lined up for that meeting right now.
What
would be,
kind of application?
they're almost exclusively initial presentations.
No public hearings?
No, nothing.
This would be online.
This would be the only public hearing, that's correct.
September 3rd. Nope.
Sounds good to me.
Sure.
Often we like prefer to have renderings when they're available for public hearings. Feels like, A, we haven't asked them for that, and B, it might be a quick turnaround. What's your feeling on that?
As far as buildings and so.
If I could just chime in on that, there is a code requirement. However, this is an industrial zone and it's a private road. So usually that requirement kicks in as a view from a public road. So in this particular instance, it's a private road, so it's not required. Now, the code allows you to request any additional information you feel is appropriate for the application, and you can definitely ask that. But the reason you haven't received it yet is that this applicant is not required to provide it.
Will those silos, the 5 silos, be potentially visible from 17M?
Yes.
Even though we don't care about
100%.
private.
Yes.
Their corporate neighbor. Yeah, you can see them from 17 and no
I just want to ask, Mr. Chairman, this is a public hearing. More
No, I don't have, I
importantly-
thought you were the,
No.
you're just here from the public. You can't talk.
But you heard me though, right?
There was a balloon test that was
Well,
part of it.
what I'm thinking as far as just talking about visual cross-section, just showing what it looks like coming through from 17M, looking in the general direction of where those 5 silos are going to be, as far as how they rise with respect to the hill behind it and the ridge.
Larry O'Brien is site plan engineer, and we can prepare that section. I think Mr. Hoffman did mention that in the memo. Prepare that section for that.
Sure, you could have that for the public hearing.
Yeah, let's just talk about that for a second, Mr. Chairman, of the board. So if you want to schedule a public hearing, you're obviously going to want time to review the applicant's submittals.
Everything would have to be in a week prior.
If that's what you'd like. Typically require 2 weeks prior, but if this is only one item, you have made exceptions in the past for limited submissions.
Hear from the board.
Well, when do you think you can get the renderings to us?
Certainly we can certainly make a week before the public hearing.
A week before the public hearing.
I'm okay with that.
That works.
We're gonna need some time. The public week, we gotta get ready ourselves.
This isn't a public hearing.
I'm
This
sorry?
isn't a public hearing.
Yeah, I understand that, but
So then,
on the
there's
planning
nothing
board,
you can set.
how does it work though if there's no public hearing before the planning board? Or rather, before you do your neg deck, what does it matter after that?
So, Mr. Chairman, if the
Right.
board would like, the board can take action.
So,
You can take action if you'd like. You don't have to consider public comments.
right. So just want to start a public hearing.
It's whatever the board wants to do.
September 3rd, I have a motion.
So moved.
Phil, second by
I'll second.
Marty, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against?
September 3rd.
September 3rd.
Provided the applicant makes a submission within a week.
Right, that was
A
on
week
work.
before.
What am I hearing
Yeah.
I like Grace, I just wanted to make sure we did it. Okay, say 3 PM, 8/27 to the building department. From that submission.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sean, about those 5 items.
Yeah, I figured you'd ask about those, Mr. Chairman. So the 5 items that you have, and they were kind of many.
Here's a surprise.
I'll be the judge of that.
Millmore,
Lamar.
Mulchmore, Quarry Stone, 6 Virginia Lane, that's a contractor with the business. Goshen Floors,
These are all new applications?
more or less, yeah. Mulchmore has been around, in and out a number of times. And then the public hearing for Solomon, that you just got. So, yeah, that would be 5, and Solomon would be 6.
We're good?
Good.
Any other issues the board wants to raise? Not, do I have a meeting, motion to close the meeting?
Second.
Bill, second by Bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Have a good night.